Good afternoon. My name is John, and this is the Homestead Diary. Today we've been doing some limbing up of trees as we work on expanding our gardens. These huge old oak trees, well, at least huge for this area, have branches that are as large as trees that come out over the area where we're planting gardens. And so we're just limbing them up to bring more light into the area. In this space around here, basically from this line of the mullein back to the fence, we're going to be planting fruit trees. Now, what is here now, we are not entirely certain as to the different species of tree. There's this one, which kind of looks like a locust in terms of the leaves, but the bark doesn't really look like a locust, and so I don't know. And then there's this one over here, which the bark kind of looks like a cherry tree, sort of. And the leaves have some similarities, and we see little pieces of possibly fruit. I don't know if you can see those there, but it's not growing in clusters the way cherries normally do. So I don't know, it might be a crabapple tree or something like that. And then we go back here a little bit further, and there's a walnut tree. Walnuts kind of, in my opinion, look a little scraggly, but it's not fully leafed out yet. And then there's another tree here that we've been told is maybe an invasive pear tree or something like that. I don't really know. We've seen a couple little bits of fruit on it here, and so hopefully it produces fruit. But at any rate, this tree is probably 25 foot tall, and we're basically going to cut it in half. If we can't bend it over. It depends on how soft it is. If we can bend it and create a cool little arc or something like that, then we might just do that. But we're keeping these trees that are here already because we don't really know if they will bear fruit. And so, at least for the foreseeable season or two, we're just going to let them grow. We're going to prune them back significantly because they're way too large for what is going to become the orchard, or one of the orchards. See this one here? These different, I don't know, clusters of something or other. Have really no idea what it is. I'm still learning how to identify trees in the Ozarks, obviously. But, well, here you go, sweetheart. See? But we're going to limb them up so they're closer to the size of what we would want them to be if they are going to stay. And if we get through harvest season and there's nothing, then we'll probably take them out and put something else in its place, because it's kind of unnecessary to keep them here when this is where we are producing food. It's actually been kind of interesting cutting down these limbs, because over here at this one oak tree, where you see the ladder leaning up, I don't know if you can see the size of the branch that I took out. It's probably anywhere from 9 to 12 inches in diameter. Big, heavy branch with lots of other little branches coming off of it, making a significant pile of wood. And it was a bit of a challenge to take down, just because, well, one, I'm not that experienced with taking down branches, but two, big, heavy piece of wood that I have to lean my tree up, or my ladder up against, and hoping that when it comes down, as the outermost branches touch the ground, it's not going to spring back and knock me off the ladder. And so I actually cut just enough so that I could get to it with the chainsaw at the very ends, and then I took it off piece by piece by piece, and then cut it a little bit more and a little bit more until I had a section that was only about 10 foot long. And so when that dropped, it just dropped right where it was and didn't come back at me at all. And so that was fun. I mean, it's not like this is a high-risk sort of thing, but paying attention matters, especially when you're dealing with chainsaws and whatnot. So, yeah, that's what's going on. Ooh, something cool to show you that I discovered. There's a bunch of honeysuckle that's taken over. I had taken over a cedar tree, this poor cedar tree with one little sprig coming up. We don't have a lot of cedar here, comparatively speaking. I mean, it's maybe 2% of the forest is cedar, and we want to encourage that because it's good for furniture and fence posts and all that kind of stuff. And it smells good. I like cedar. And so anyway, I pulled off the honeysuckle there, and there's what we think is a wild black cherry tree that's kind of been over here. And that is because it has been covered in this nice big honeysuckle vines. And so as I was removing honeysuckle vines, I noticed in and amongst the honeysuckle vines, I noticed something else. And it's here. These are grape leaves. Oh, can you see that? There we go. Grape leaves. And this grapevine is probably about an inch in diameter. And it goes way up in that tree there, maybe 20 foot off the ground. And so we're thinking that we're gonna pull down what we can and train it into the garden. And hopefully this actually has decent grapes. We don't know. Some varieties are good, some varieties mostly seed. We don't really know a whole lot about it other than it's going to produce some sort of food. And, you know, worst case scenario, it's nothing and it's just pretty and whatever. But I'm going to cross my toes for something that is yummy that we can make into tasty children's beverages and adult beverages and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, so that's been the goings on. We're getting further into the woods, and not really this season to be doing that, but it's really cool today. So here in about a week or so, it's supposed to be in the 90s, and that's going to be fun. But we've been conditioning ourselves to be ready for that, and we will deal with it as it comes, because every place has a season that it's not fun to be outside. Here it just happens to be gardening season. Anyway, hope you all are having a blessed day.